G'day, I'm Brad Sheppard.
And I'm Jason Urbanowicz, and we're from Trainer HQ.
And we're here today at Beyond the Close podcast.
And we're about to see if we can hit our targets.
Oh, nice.
You're up. I'm 3.
Solid.
Whoa.
Oh, good start.
Great work.
Oh, okay.
First air ball we've had.
I was very confident going into this.
Oh, hang on, he's made a comeback.
Oh, yeah, it's...
Oh,
yeah, that's pretty good.
Still out though.
Bradley and Jason, welcome to Beyond the Close.
Hello, sir.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Thanks for coming down.
It's been quite the morning.
I feel like
It
we've
has.
had about 3 episodes of the podcast.
We
already
have.
This morning.
We
There's
have.
been a bit of
Yeah,
chat.
yeah.
A few moments.
So we started off at 5 a.m. EMF,
Yeah.
Correct.
Narang,
Yeah.
bit of a sesh.
That was your comeback
It
to the
was.
Olympia stage.
I was saying the quickest way to feel skinny is to have a session with you two lads.
Mate, you held your own.
Yeah, you did well.
Thank you.
I
You're
was
very
impressed.
strong
Yeah, I
for
was
a man
impressed.
with a self-proclaimed dad bod.
Because driving
Moving into
down,
his
you
40s.
said you weren't expecting much
No.
from him, but you definitely brought it. So
Yeah,
impressive.
well, I mean, listen, I had to bring out the big guns, so I have been training for this session for the past 2 months. So that's really what's kept me in the gym. Is I've been going 4 times a week.
Yeah, right.
Which is the first time I've had good consistency for, I'd say, 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
And with the baby just nearly 6 months, we're starting to get to a bit of a sleep routine. So
Nice.
I've been hitting some gym.
And that's just you, right? Chris gets to have his lunchtime nap. He gets to sleep 8 hours a night. So he's no longer shirty.
Yeah, that's it.
it's
So
good.
that's why I'm up and about today. So I got a good sleep last night.
Yep.
Up this morning, we hit EMF. Great gym, by the way.
Yeah, I really like it. Yeah, it's
Solid.
our go-to on the coast.
Yeah, large, big
Yeah.
gym too.
Massive.
Yeah. And I was just thinking what it maybe about your comeback was like 2010 when you're on the cover of, was it Men's Health magazine or something like that? Like,
I think
right.
men's fitness.
Men's Fitness.
You had the shaved head, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Oh, actually, that wasn't the shaved head.
No.
That was Oxygen magazine.
Oh,
with the
sure.
shaved
The other
head.
one.
So
we
we've
can't
got to
keep
get
up
our.
with the magazine covers, can we? Jesus.
There's too
Yeah.
many to count. That Oxygen magazine is
That's right.
unfortunately no more. RIP.
I think 15 years down the track, there's an opportunity to bring that side of Chris back.
The Masters edition.
There you go.
The old
If
boys
there's anyone
edition.
out there who's
The old boy.
editing a magazine, we've got
Yeah.
your next cover.
If you want a nearly 40-year-old dude who's been out of the gym, looks like he's been sitting in the cubicle.
Is
the
there
past
a
10 years.
magazine called the Closers Almanac or something like that? 'Cause maybe you could make the cover of that.
We actually might have to make that
Yeah.
That'd be a
magazine.
good
New
idea.
project.
Good marketing ploy.
Who's the hot closers?
Yeah. Put
Hottest closers.
Hottest closers.
Hottest.
Calendar, babe, you could do another calendar.
Hot 40 under 40.
He's liking this.
I like this. This is good.
Yeah.
So awesome to have you guys on,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah, awesome.
And it's been a long time since we first met. And so
time.
we've got a bit of a history. Dates back way back into the early 2000s, probably 2011, I'd say,
I'd say
around
it'd be
about
pretty accurate.
2011.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah.
I still remember I was a personal trainer
Yep.
at
that
all
you
sorts fitness in the green t-shirt. I used to get around in these green t-shirts that didn't fit at all. At the time, I was very dark brown. I had a lot of solarium, a lot
old
of beach
solariums,
use.
yeah.
I was quite jacked as well. And
Yeah, I remember that.
I remember I was punching out a lot of sessions on the gym floor, and I thought I was doing pretty well, but had no idea about business. Walked past. You had one of those pull-up banners.
Correct.
That's right.
At the gym, which was advertising
Yeah.
a seminar that you guys had coming up, and it was. Would you? I mean, I can't remember the tagline, but it was something like, "Would you like to earn an extra $100,000 in profit in your business in the next 12 months?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah, I would." Sign me up.
Yeah, that's how we started. That was our strategy and our model. That you could earn $100,000 or greater, working 20 hours or less per week.
That's
So,
right.
so
That's
that
right.
was it. But based off our actual experience, to the point where, or you could do that with it working no hours in your business, if you wanted to. Which is the concept was hiring team members and
Getting leverage.
because we're the first to start business coaching in the fitness industry. Then we had people come along and to how we'd like to do it in 6 months, you know. So we eventually changed our strategy. But yeah, that's when you come on board.
Yeah, and so I remember it was a 2-day seminar. You guys ran it really well. Like, it was a well-oiled machine. At the time, I didn't realise I was in a full sales process. I thought, how good's this? I'm getting so much information. It was free. The ticket was free.
Yeah.
These guys are sharing all the information. And then at the end, you know, there was the, I think it was like I think it was book a blueprint. I think it was, if the call to action might have been book a blueprint.
Yep.
You went through the pitch.
Yeah.
You went through sort of what you get for the 12-month program. And you, and the call to action was, raise your hand, and I think I raised my hand, but I also stood up.
Yeah.
I think I think I put my hand almost through the roof. I was so keen.
Well, wasn't that that was the one when your mobile phone went off, and back then we had a penalty if someone's phone went off in the seminar. You did burpees, I believe. It was.
That's right.
And you had to sing "Mary Had a Little Lamb" at the same time, shirt off. So
That's right.
So
That would've been a sight
complete.
at that point.
We were into humiliation techniques back then.
Well, I didn't even know
Like
you had.
that
I didn't even know that was a rule. I just got my.
And should we get him to? Oh, he's done it.
Of all the people in the room, Shani, who would you have picked? 50 people in the room, whose phone would have gone off?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, man, that was. It seems like yesterday, but I mean, it was one thing I'd love to unpack today, because we're on a sales podcast, and we really want to unpack sort of sales methodologies. You guys have been doing this for 2 decades, a long time, and not just for your own business, but you've trained. I mean, how many business owners, PTs, fitness business owners, gym owners, how many people have you trained?
Yeah, it's crazy to put an exact number on it, but now Trainer HQ have been going for 17 years, and currently at the moment we have 200 plus people come through our higher level coaching programs every year. Then underneath that we have a number of people who engage in our content, in our various online courses and so forth. So do the maths on that. Plus when we talk about the seminar, which we do less of these days, we're currently up to about 140 something in terms of those 2-day seminars, so we still run them. So we add up the number of people coming to those. It's a huge number.
So, and what was the strategy? You sort of went from seminar, the funnel basically you had at the time was seminar, 2-day. That was really quite well planned. I think, you know, you've got, Jason, you've got a background in sort of selling from stage. And I think that's a real skill of yours and something you teach. Yeah. And so the 2-day seminar, call to action at the end, book a phone call. Yeah. Which is, I think at the time we paid for it as well. So
correct.
It was a paid sales call.
It just eliminated, because like, hey, who's not going to want to spend an hour with us? Look at us, you know. But that was the problem. Otherwise, that, you know, we were finding we were doing these blueprints with people that weren't really qualified or serious. But you go, hey, spend an hour with us. Why wouldn't you? So we put the price on it to eliminate those who weren't really serious.
Which is really interesting for people who, like, because now, like, most businesses will offer that free call, and you know it's a pitch. You know it's a sales pitch, and you know you try to sort of wrap it up so they're going to get value from the call. So, I mean, it was a while ago. How did you put value on that session to kind of make people who are qualified get their credit cards out for that session?
Typically the way that we would do it was, I guess we would say that we're going to look at what's your current reality in your business. We want to uncover what are the challenges, frustrations, the things that you haven't been able to overcome on your own, and then look at what's the personal strategy and plan for that individual or that business. And what I'm fond of saying to people, there's 2 things will happen. You'll want to go and try to implement that plan on your own. And if you're prepared to take 5 to 6, 7, 8 years to do that, then all good. Or we can help you implement it, and we'll work with you to do it. So they feel like either way, at the end of that, they would get extreme value from it. So it was like a consultation. I think we did a really good job of doing a blend. So not just specific sales or pain and aggravate. It was also a combination of, I could see where at the moment you could have real potential to improve that area of your business, give them the overview of what that would mean. And then they felt like they had value. So when we explained it, they felt like that was the case, that they were going to still walk away with some true value, even if they didn't do anything with us.
Which is, at the time, I would not have known it was a sales call. I'm pretty sure I would have thought that it was a business strategy session. So,
Yeah.
and you hear it a lot, strategy session, it's the new sales call, like pretty much you could sort of substitute it for sales call.
Yeah.
But if you can position that call in a way that that recipient is going to get value regardless
Yeah.
of whether they buy or not, I think is the key.
Yeah.
So
and that,
50% of people, like, because we've done so many seminars, we've got our stats. So if we had 60 people in there, 30 would do the blueprint. And they would pay. We did all different prices, $197, $297. But people would pay, for that, but 50%. And then out of that 50%, typically 30% would then go on and become a client.
And where this all stemmed from was, going back to where we originally kicked off, we inaugurated in 2007. You'd started a pilot program before that, but we were both running our fitness businesses successfully ourselves. So we both kicked off in the fitness industry in the sort of the early to mid 90s. And so, myself started off as a personal trainer, clueless, loved training, was good at getting people in shape, all that, but had no idea about business, not unlike others in the room.
Yeah, exactly.
My first stage in the industry was like a roller coaster journey. Things were moving all right. Then for no apparent reason, I could lose some clients and I had no sales process, no marketing systems, etc. And so it wasn't until I got my first coach that showed me, hey, there's a different way to do this, and think you're a business owner first, and what you deliver is PT. But when we kicked off, it was like, well, we're both busy in our businesses, which are running very successfully already. We need to find a model that's going to work for us. And the seminar model was a great option, because we go, okay, if we could have 50, 60 people in a room and we can go for 2 days and we can deliver shitloads of content and absolutely blow them away. And regardless of what they do, for some people, they're going to come along and go, that was the best fucking 2 days I've spent.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and do this by myself. And if you took all that information and if you implemented it, you could get success, which, but for a lot of people, they know, hey, I'm going to need more. And that was, I guess, our whole strategy.
And that's gold.
Yeah.
That's gold.
Yeah.
What? So this is scratching an itch we've got now, because we're working with a client at the moment who's putting together a live event, and there's going to be a live event funnel. Most of my work in the last decade, I think, has been online. So mostly sort of in the remote world, virtual events, which they're not as visual, not the same as being there in person. But so I mean, talk us through sort of the fundamentals of putting together a live event that adds value, but also is a bit of a funnel that gets down to a sale.
First, I mean, time frame. You got to look at what's your time frame. Typically, for us, we found a minimum 6 weeks, depending on your.
To advertise for the event?
Yeah. And again, depends on where you're at. Like, do you have a good following already? Are you new? Is it you're just brand new popping this seminar up, or have you been around, established, and people are aware of you? And again, we were running 16 of these events every year. So that was our time frame. Some people, if you're only going to run 2 or 3 a year, you might promote it for 3 or 4 months. But I guess the part is then what's your strategy to get people in? We've tried everything. Direct promoting the event itself, taking someone to a sales page, a landing page. What I really like to do is I like to build the audience first and have an audience there that you could then go and promote the seminar to, because they're a lot warmer. They've got value, they've got trust. And I think the landscape has changed a little bit now, that if you've got Anthony Robbins puts on an event, well, he doesn't really need to convince a lot of people, right? Because there's that authority, that he's well known. If you're not, you got to do a really good job of having a pretty smick copy, sales process, funnel, marketing, advertising, all that bit. Or you have more time up your sleeve to go, well, let's build an audience first. Let's build a captive audience of people who are into the things I'm going to be promoting at the seminar, and then do it that way.
So you would say organic first, so build your tribe, and try as much as you can.
When we started, we built our database first, and the first event we put on, we had 50 odd people in there. No paid advertising, no nothing. We just built up our list.
How did you do that?
From back then, and we're talking 2008, we were getting people going into different gyms. Our partners would go and train at gyms, getting contacts. We had people cold calling, trainers, going through the phone book, the whole bit, because social media wasn't around
Didn't
then.
exist. Yeah, no Facebook.
It was really
Yeah.
limited. Our connections, of course, because we had a lot of connections in the industry, and it just built up organically that way. So it was a lot of legwork that we did, but we built up. That was the strategy. Let's build up a database first. Then when we put the event on, straight away, 50 odd people to that very first event. I think we spent $5,000 on a sales page, got a copywriter in, did a landing page, as they call them now, and directed our people to that particular page. And I think we sold it for, I can't remember that first event, if people paid $197 or...
I think it was $97. $97 2-day event. Yeah, and back to the web page we got set up, the sales page. It was a long sales.
It was that old school long copy,
it was
sales copy.
decent. I remember we had the brief sitting down with the person who did it, and it was like, wow, this is. And when we saw it, we're like, wow, this is cool, man.
I don't know if you remember. There was that time where it didn't matter if it looked shit. It was what was written on it.
Yeah.
But
People
now
had an
they've got to have the
attention span.
combination of both. It's got to look at your brand strategy, your brand colours, how you want to represent yourself. But back then it was more about how persuasive is the copy. And the headline. But it was half of them looked terrible, the websites, because the technology as well wasn't there to make things look so
It's
great.
almost like we've gone back to the future there, though, because I think sometimes we went through this stage where you get an email and it was like really kind of well designed, and you could immediately see it was a marketing email and just screamed, I'm being marketed to right now. So now, like a lot of the marketing emails, they just look like you've been sent a random blank email. And so I think the same with some of the landing pages. But
the other thing is, if you can align yourself with maybe someone who's got a following already or a database, it's another way that you could promote. And that was big back when I was previously to Train HQ, when I was in the personal development arena. Everyone had a list and database, and you would cross promote, because there might be someone who does how to flip houses and all this stuff, but they needed personal development as well. So we would cross pollinate and go out to the list. So there's ways that you can do it if you want to fast track it. Go, well, who do I know that might already have a captive audience that I can build a relationship with, that they can promote to their list and their database? I mean, you see it all the time. So it's another way you can do it.
there was, then there's this putting together of the event. So you've got them in a room. So it sounds, and to be honest, I haven't heard that before. So that's interesting to know that you put all that legwork in, and you built your database. You worked on that. Then you got 50 to your first event, which is probably more than Tony Robbins got to his first event. Probably.
Absolutely. What was he doing? Snakes?
Snake fear.
Phobias?
He was curing snake phobia. I think his first ever business.
Yeah.
And so 50 to your first event, and you obviously had a model that worked. You had 60 in a room, 30 would buy the blueprint. So what's the process you take them through? Why 2 days? Why not 1 day? Why not 4 hours?
Yeah, I guess the concept is the longer we can spend with somebody, the more chance we're going to have to get them really bought into what we're doing and to take them on the journey. So after we did that first 2-dayer, we moved into 3-dayers, because we're like, all right, at 1 day, they're just turning up and making a decision, going, have I made the right decision?
Do I like these guys?
Is
That's
this a
what
good
they're
use
doing.
of 2 days? Do I stay? Am I going to find this enjoyable? All that sort of stuff. But we come back at day 2, and you see the eyes light up, and we get the feedback. How was day 1? Oh man, rattle off, what'd you learn? Give us the feedback, all that sort of stuff. By day 3, we got them up dancing. They're doing all sorts of crazy shit. You know what I mean? So it's like, that at that point in time, they're fully invested.
We'd have people tell us, go, I was coming originally because we used to attach CEC points to it, right? So for those who aren't in the fitness industry, they're accredited points to stay registered and stay qualified. And people would go, I was just going to come to get the CEC points. So if I thought it was going to be crap, So, but then that's an example of people on day 1. They just turn up to go, do I like these guys? And will I stay? Otherwise, I'll bail. And we heard many people say that. And you watch them come in day 2, way more relaxed, way more open, the whole bit. So typically, a 1 day event, if you're good at what you do, you could probably sell a $3,000 product. If it's a 2 day, you could go probably to 12. 3 day, 20 plus, you could get to that part where you could sell that. But
And you went
don't-
to 3.
We did 3 as well.
Yeah. Where we found where we probably found the roadblock is then after a certain number of events, we did have some limitations with people going just not committing. Like, hey, knowing well in advance that hey, I don't want to give up 3 days of PT clients. It's probably one of our first
biggest
objections to overcome. So you think about yourself, right? You're in the game. You're exchanging time for money. Taking 2 days out of that meant that, all right, I've got to move people around. You're probably resourceful enough to do that, right? But for a lot who aren't wired that way, it's probably a big struggle, right, or a big challenge. So to then do that for 3 days. That's where we might have run 3 days for a couple of years, but then we moved back to 2, and 2 became sort of like the ideal model.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So depending on what your market is, like if you're attracting people in a full-time job, they take 2 days off work, no big deal, 3 days. But you're dealing with self-employed trainers who income already up and down, and looking, can I make these people? Can I change them? I don't want to ask my clients to move. So that was the stuff that we experimented with, and for us, it was the biggest objection was I've got to take 2 days out or 3 days out, of my business.
The opportunity cost there.
Yeah.
And so even though you do a good job of overcoming that, well, what's it costing you by staying in and not learning this stuff? It's still, for some people, they just were focused on I'm going to lose money.
Yeah. And we, over the years, we experimented with so many different models and options too. There was a point in time where we tried the free ticket model. So we're like, okay, cool. So let's try a free ticket model now. That did produce more sign-ups. But then what it meant was we had, less people turn up, right? Because it's like, all right, now we've got 100 people come in, ripper, 50 people turn up. We go, all right, well, hold on. We thought 100 were coming, So then I had a brainwave to go, okay, what we'll do is we'll go to you, hey, Shani, come to the event. Here's how it works. The ticket's free. But what will happen is the value of the ticket's $197. Now, we'll take your credit card details and we'll file it away, and we'll only bill you if you don't turn up. So if you turn up, then you don't have to pay. That seemed to work for a while, but then someone told us it's probably not that legal.
It was illegal.
record
We're only
now,
doing it for
guys.
6
Well
months.
And did you take the credit card payments when they didn't show up? Did you follow
Yeah,
through on that?
well, I think people showed up.
I think people
it
showed
was
up.
pretty good
Yeah.
because we had their
But
credit card
I'll tell you
details.
what,
I love that.
We went from people dropping out. People definitely got there.
Yeah,
you
they
know?
got there
For sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Fear of loss.
Yeah.
yeah.
Big motivator.
Yeah, we thought we were going to get on a current affair for that when we found out about it. We're like,
I got a feeling it was actually Lynn that said, I've done a bit of research and I don't think we're actually supposed to do this. It's rather free or it's not.
yeah, you're not allowed to promote it as free and then
you
take
bill
some
people.
payment details. Yeah.
That's
So
good.
anyway.
Let the audience know.
Yeah.
Let it stand.
We don't
guys.
recommend that
It's
one.
Free or it's not. And then, so the event itself, like you hear a lot of coaches talk about, you give them some know-how with know-how, and so don't be sort of teaching when you're trying to sell. It sounds like you guys just were focused on deliver value and they'll buy. Like, was there any sort of strategy that you had around the event itself and how it was running?
Yeah, that's always been my common disagreement with the so-called gurus teaching that stuff. And I've been to events myself where maybe because I'm well aware of this stuff, I won't mention a name, but there's someone who's pretty high profile in Australia, and all I heard this person say at the front was, "This is not a sales pitch. We're going to get great content." There was about 2 minutes of content. It was woeful, and I just go, "Well, why say all that stuff and then don't deliver it? If you say it's not a sales pitch, then deliver content and let people make their own mind up." There is a balance and a blend between training people in the audience, so training them to take action, and sometimes it can sound manipulative. For my training, it's not manipulative. It's just that I understand that people left to their own devices won't do anything. So it's the ability to train them, and there was specific psychology that I learned from my mentor around how to do that. But we're always a big fan of going, no matter if it's on a sales call or a seminar, I want you to walk away going, that was the best 2 days that I experienced. And if you didn't do anything, great, that you had a great time. My understanding is that if you do a good job of that, people will go with, this is what their the stuff is like, or this is what 2 days like. Imagine what it's going to be like working with them for 12 months. And that worked really well for us. And I know this industry standard, some seminars, and if you run a seminar, you're converting at like 28 to 30%. That's considered top. So if you were a speaker back then, and you were getting invited to do people that run multiple events, right? There's a promoter, and they get you to come in to sell your product, and they collect a bit of that. If you were closing at 30%, they would want you to come and do that. So our stats showed us that we didn't need to do that style where you're just going, this is what you got to do, but I'm not going to tell you how to do it. We never went down that approach, and it worked very well for us. Does that mean it's the same for everybody? No, but I don't like when I hear you go, you don't do it that way. I go, well, show me the stats first. Yeah. If that way we do it doesn't work for your model and business, don't do it. So I just don't like when people teach one way and go, that's the only way you do it, because it's not true.
Yeah, and coming from both of our experience and background, like we love to share information and content, and so we'd actually show a concept and then we teach the strategy step by step, whilst we're in the lesson. And so that part was because you get to see the light bulb moments in the people in the audience, and you get to get the feedback and all that sort of stuff. And it's just from looking back to all those events, and we go like the amount of people that had an impact on was really cool.
The reality is that when you do share more, they know your expertise. They go, these guys fucking know their shit. Well, you were at the seminar. You would have, I don't know if you can remember, you'd start to form an opinion of us. But if you had switched on, you go, there's a lot of shit I've got to get my head around. There's no fucking way I'm going to do this all on my own. So if you're clever enough, you go, these guys know it. They've clearly sharing it with us. But I've got to go and do this all by myself. No way.
If more knowledge was what we needed, then we'd all be millionaires with perfect abs.
And that's our message throughout the whole thing. It's not about the knowledge. That's what's going on here and everything else.
Because it's about the mindset, it's about the action, it's about the follow through. So you can have a strategy. You can just Google now. We're in the information age. It's not very hard to find a way to market or a way to get clients or a sales process.
Yeah.
It's about getting off your ass and getting it kicked sometimes to make sure it gets done.
Yeah.
And that's what you guys do.
Well, what you said there is how I used to open, right? I go, if it's just about the knowledge, we'd just give you our videos and audios and you'll be sweet, yeah? Just go and do it. You don't need us. And they go, nah.
Thanks.
And I'd ask the audience, well, what is it then? They go, it's what's going on between your ears. It's your limitations, limiting beliefs, all that stuff's got to be addressed. I go, yeah, I agree.
And it also becomes a major downfall in the information age of so much knowledge, so much too much out there. People get confused, they become overwhelmed. So we have so many people coming to us going, I've been watching this video, I've been tuning to this podcast, I've read this many books, I've Audible, and it's like, well, which ones have you actioned? I'm not really sure. I don't even know where I'm going, what I'm meant to be doing,
It's about they've got the pantry, but they don't have the recipe.
Yeah.
And so if you're there, if you don't have a recipe, but you got the pantry, you've got all the food, and but how do I actually turn that into a souffle? A business souffle.
I'm hungry now.
It's so true. Yeah.
And
fascinating times like to reflect back on this, because it's not often we get to sit back and sit down and actually go back, because at that time, of course, my daughter Sophia, she's 15, Dexter's 14, Mia's 14. Our kids were born, right? So you guys are going through this stage right now. It's like traveling around the countryside, 15, 16 gigs a year, Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, WA. Like it's pretty cool to reflect back on, that's for sure.
Yeah.
We had a pretty well-oiled machine too, didn't we? We'd fly in on the Wednesday night because we'd be kid heavy centric, right? You pick the kids up from school or from wherever on a Wednesday and get them back off to the airport, fly down, boom, Thursday seminar, Friday seminar, Friday night back home. It was pretty cool.
That's wild. That's the jet setting lifestyle. I don't know. I mean, we might have to get the notes on how to do that.
I think we've made a family rule: no travel on our own. We travel as a family.
Travel as a family. So we're all going.
Sounds good. Good idea.
And so back in 2011, I put my hand up. I became a client, and that's. Oh, that's my alarm just going off.
Perfect.
That's what you like.
Just
staying true to form. So 2011, I become a client.
Yeah.
And really you guys are my first mentors in business.
Yeah.
And I don't even think I'd done I'd completed any sales training or any business training up until that point.
No. You were just gorgeous.
Just pretty
Sometimes
face.
that's all it takes.
Yeah.
I remember I used to rock up to PT sessions. So before I met you guys, I would rock up to PT sessions or free sessions. Really, you introduce the gym member to the gym, and then you sort of present them your packages.
Yeah.
And I used to sell like on pure enthusiasm,
Yeah.
knowledge, the same as you guys. I'd sort of take them through a session, get the heart rate up,
Yeah.
show them how unfit they were, show them how bad they were on the squat rack, and go through at the end. But a lot of my passion and enthusiasm would come through, and I think people bought me. So
Yeah.
when I started with you guys, and it was that part, not about the 100K, but it was about working less than 20 hours a week. Because I'm pretty sure when I started working with you guys, I was doing 40, 50
you're up
hours
there.
of PT a week. I was fully booked.
Yeah.
But I was really, really like overworking.
Yeah.
I was
Burning
overworked,
out.
stressed,
You were
burnt
burnt
out,
out, yeah.
absolutely burnt out. So it was the 20 hour, working 20 hours a week or less. I'm like, sign me up, let me go, let's go. And so just jumped into the program, and obviously you guys have been instrumental in my business training, and ended up building a team. So started to build the team. And I remember I was going to tap out. I was very close to tapping out, Jason, and we had that chat.
Remember
So
it well.
we I was getting to a point where I was like, the money's coming out. I'm like, looking at my options, and I think my mindset at the time was I was I wasn't sure. I signed up, got started, got on the road. I was on a 12-month contract, 12-month agreement, and I was like, actually, no, guys, I'm going to do this on my own. But I don't think the refund objection handling. I don't think I've ever seen a better example of it than you, mate. So the old mindset, looking through it, because before long I was actually upgrading.
Yeah.
I was about to tap out.
That's right.
And then
You
I was
went from that to
upgrading to
that.
be coaching with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then I built a team, and started to train others how to sell. So when you guys showed me the ropes on how to actually hire staff, hire PTs underneath me, that's where I started with Anytime Fitness. I went into Anytime Fitness, got an agreement to offer PT to their members exclusively. I was going to hire the PTs. And I remember the first, and I've told this story before, but I remember the first, I was selling, and it was easy. So I'd sell, and the trainers would take the clients, and then we got an opportunity to start another gym, and that was my first sales hire. It was my first sales guy. It was Darren,
DAZ.
the DAZ again. Shout out to Daz. We've already talked about Daz on the podcast before.
another mention.
He's a famous dude, famous sales rep, and so he's the first sales guy. But he was sort of the guy who got me on the sales training journey, because it was at that point he started to hear I want to think about it, and it was very rare that I got that. And if I did, I think you might have helped me through that. But it was at that point that I started to really go, I got to knuckle down this sales to learn it, to really understand it, so I can actually train other people, because you can't really train your enthusiasm, you can't train your knowledge, you can't train your passion. And so that's what I was selling based on. And so I guess one thing I wanted to sort of unpack for you guys, like you've been teaching sales and selling for 17 years more, because before that you're on the gym floor selling your own
30 years,
products.
come up to about 30
years
now.
in sales.
Yeah.
And so over to you guys, like what are you guys, what's your philosophy on sales? What are the fundamentals? What are the mistakes that you see people make out there?
You want to go?
So many bits to it.
Yeah.
Where do we start? I guess my philosophy's always been, seek first to understand, so get in and really take a dive into what's going on for that person. So whether if we're talking fitness specifically, it's like, all right, let's really get an understanding of where you're at. Where do you want to go? What does the journey look like? Let me understand. And so that process that we taught back then was all about consultation, whereas people were like, hey, I'm a Brad, I'm a PT, it's $70, $80 a session, take it or leave it. It was like, no, let's have a discussion with this person, let's really see what's going on, and that way I can then decide, okay, can I actually help this person, number one, because obviously you can't help everybody. Then number two, to go, okay, can I unpack a strategy for that person and show them here's what the journey looks like and how I can help you. And I guess that's the overarching philosophy. Still what we do today, right?
Yeah. I mean, things have changed. The way people buy and your skill set, you have to evolve. I feel that a lot of people don't keep updating their sales training. So after all these years, if you ask me any given time through a year what you're listening to, it'll be something to do with sales, because we're all in a marketing and sales business. So when you ask them what I see people doing incorrectly is I think they just don't spend enough time educating themselves and being clear on sales. So they might learn a bit, stop. So I think you got to always keep educating yourself and staying, at the forefront of what and how people make buying decisions, because we all get subjected to really bad sales experience. So you're also up against that as a salesperson. You got to make sure that you're not sounding like what people are experiencing at this point of time. But an extension of what Brad says, I guess my thing's always been, number one, am I clear on the solutions that I provide for people? So before you even get to sales, how are you fitting into the ecosystem in your particular niche or niches? Like, are you clear on that? Because if you're not clear on that, I find it's very hard to get people pre-qualified before you even get them into a sales appointment. Your blogs, your podcasts, your information should all represent and help pre-qualify people before you even talking to them. And you know this because even if it's a video sales letter, like, has someone turned up to the sales consult knowing a lot about you? If I hear someone say, I've been watching your podcast, I've read your book, I've been watching YouTube, what does that tell me?
Trust.
There's trust, and people know. If someone says, no, I don't know anything about you guys, got no idea, I've got a lot of work to do.
A lot of heavy lifting to do.
A lot
on
of
that
heavy
sales call.
lifting. So in that case, I don't always proceed with that meeting until I feel like I've got some kind of status with that person. So that's a mistake I see people jumping to and not doing a really good job of understanding who I'm in front of. So I go, yeah, can I help that person? Like Brad said, do they realize they've got a problem? Because sometimes people don't even realize they've got the problem.
Denial is not just a river in Egypt.
That's right. It's like, I can see you got a problem, but I don't think I've got a problem. So the conversation's over. Do they want it actually solved? Because pretty quickly within 10 minutes, I'll realise that this person doesn't even want a solution for it. It's just a thought. And then if they do agree they want to solve it, then I look at, would they be prepared to come on the journey with me to help them to solve it? So I think they're the things. Again, there's so much more to it, but they're the main things.
And we talk again. We go back to the seminars as a great example. 140 plus, 50 odd people each time. One of the first questions we ask at the start of day one is, who here is a fan of sales? What percentage of people do you think typically stick their hand up with fitness professionals?
Like
5%.
Yeah,
It's a very
5%,
small
yeah.
percentage of that room, and that's across the board. Why are you not a fan of it? Well, it's pushy. It's it's
sales
confronting. That's right. All the typical stuff. So we've got, and this is just amongst fitness professionals, gym owners, online coaches, people that we typically service, right? But we go to really any business, and and any consortium, hairdressers, plumbers, whatever, they'd probably all say the same thing, right? So I guess that's the first bit. It's the psychology behind it. Going, okay, I probably don't consider myself a salesperson. I've got preconceived connotations and ideas. We were talking about it at breakfast this morning. The 1980s looking, blue suit, tie done up, cheesy looking person, slick back hair.
The Jordan Belfort.
Yeah, 1980s, yeah.
It is a mindset as well. Like, your mindset is key, I think, when you're rocking up to a sales call. You've been doing this for so long, and it's so easy for you guys to rock up and go, well, is this person ready?
Yeah.
Do they want to change? Do they have a problem? Are they ready to admit that they've got a problem? And if they aren't, then I can't help them.
Yeah.
And you're not going to sit there and try to pitch them.
Yeah.
You're not going to sit there and try and sell them something that they're not ready for.
Yeah.
But I think that's a problem that a lot of people who are starting in business or getting into sales. They're coming from a place of, I've got to show this person how good my product is. I've got to show this person. I've got to pitch them. I've got to sell them on the idea. Oh, you don't think you've got a problem? Well, let me show you that you've got a problem. Let me try to convince you. And it can just be as easy as flipping that mindset.
Yeah. It's why emotional intelligence in that part also plays a big role in sales. Like when you said, about time and when you're with us and you wanted to leave, my ability to stay calm under that set of circumstances helped me to navigate that properly, rather than if I wasn't and I got reactive and then I got into a headbutting competition with you, then that would have been not the case. So I'm very thankful that I did all that training and work, because it comes in handy.
Do you think composure and sort of emotional regulation? So when you're talking about EQ, you're talking about emotional self-discipline, self-awareness, empathy.
Yeah.
Do you think, how important do you think that is in sales?
I think it's everything.
It's critical.
Yeah, it's everything, because once you get stressed, your ability to stay calm and relaxed and be intuitive and be in the moment goes out the window, and you'll default back to whatever your automatic process is. So under pressure, you'll rather go into yourself, or you'll get aggressive. They're typically the two things that I see. People go, oh, okay, well, okay, I guess we'll call you next week.
How different are people when they're, or I guess how important is it to learn how to be under pressure? Because I think we've talked about this on the podcast before, when confidence is easy to fake when you're not under pressure. So when you're not being squeezed by life or by sales or by business, things are going okay. It's pretty easy to rock up, as the best version of you and present a different picture, present, like a confident, composed kind of person. But it's not until you get squeezed by an objection or squeezed by, a difficult person that you really get found out.
Yeah.
I think you guys are, sorry, I've cut you off there, Casey. I think you guys are really well placed to answer this, because there's not many people I know who, or, particularly that we've had on the podcast yet, who've been doing this for so long. I think to stay the course with business and with sales for this amount of time, like there's got to be something, because a lot of people don't.
Yeah, for me, it's just the top of the food chain. It's just so critical, to understand that bit. And we've seen it. We see it on the other side when someone is getting sold to and gets awkward. And, they either do that, go into themselves and, shit themselves. But if you're in a sales role and then you haven't got that intuition to go, okay, and that insightfulness to figure out where someone's at, it's gonna make it very challenging for you. There's
a really funny thing that just came into my mind about the other person, because that happens to a sales prospect as well. They get under pressure. You're not just under pressure as a salesperson, but the prospect feels under pressure. Or they feel a little bit out of their comfort zone, which can be good for some people. Getting out of comfort zones is really the only place you're going to change. But but sometimes, your patterns come up. You're going to make an excuse. You're going to give an objection that's sort of not legit. You're going to pull away. You're not going to tell the full, tell the salesperson what's really going on.
Yeah, I'm embarrassed because I don't think I got the money, but I'm embarrassed. So I'll say I've got to think about it or do something else.
Well, we did that leadership training. So not sure what year it was. It was late days of Rapid PT. Got Jason down with. I had a leadership team. I had a bunch, maybe a team of 10 managers. There was
a few there.
There was a few there, so we had a pretty solid management team, and so we had. Was it a 2-day?
Well, some of your PTs were there. There was 2 times I did stuff with you guys.
That's right. Yeah. So we did one with just I think the wider group, and then one with just the managers, the leaders, and then some of the PTs I think who were training to be a leader or sort of on the cusp of being a manager. And got Jace down. I think it was is it a leadership? Is it a 2-day event? I think it is.
I think I can't remember now if it was 1 day or 2 days that we did, but either way,
it's a 2-day event. And one of the exercises on the last day was, and we'd been warming up to this the whole session. We'd had a few different sort of exercises. One where you're staring at someone. Yeah. You got to look at them in their eyes for, I think it was like 45 minutes.
Yeah, it was a long time.
You have to stay there and just stare. And then there was another one which was an interesting one where you've got to get your wallet, get your phone out of your pocket, your keys, put it in a bag, and then you've got to give it to someone, and then they give you their stuff. And so you're holding their stuff, they're holding your stuff. And you can't give their stuff back until you feel that they really mean it when you ask for it back. Yeah. So you start off saying, Jason, I want my bag back. Yeah. I remember that. Jason, I want my stuff back. Yeah. And then the other person has to hold strong. Yeah. and it's Jason, I want my bag back.
Yeah, that's right.
And you really have to get deep. And so sometimes people on the other side, that they feel the pressure.
Yeah.
And they don't believe that you have the genuine desire to have your bag back, but they're crumbling under pressure. They're going to give it back to you. And then it's the same for you. How long can you hold the stuff before you part with it? And then the biggest one was when we left we had this task, it was an assignment to go, and you couldn't take your wallet, you couldn't take your phone.
Well, I had all their stuff. That's
right. It was all in bags.
Because I got all their shit in the bag, so I've already got all their gear.
It was all in the bag, and so the assignment was, okay, you don't have money, you don't have a way to kind of get money, you don't have your phone. You've got to go, and you have to go get lunch. It's lunchtime, everyone's hungry. Okay, so you got to go get lunch, but you don't have money. So you've got to go, and you've just warmed up. You've dropped into your Jace.
Yeah,
I want my bag back.
Yeah.
Jace, I want my bag back.
Yeah.
And you'd see people that were just, Jace, man, just give me my bag back, man.
Well, that's the thing. You revert back. You see people try to beg, the stories are hilarious. Man, I've got to go get my kids. I won't be able to get them not my problem.
No.
Because they start telling the stories, because now I'm trying to manipulate you to make you feel sorry for me, rather than going, Chris, I want my bag back. And they got to feel that you mean it, right? And it's not aggression, but people go, mate, give us that fucking bag back, eh? And then they go, no, come on, I really need it. So you watch this roller coaster.
You just see
you have
patterns.
not learned just to fully feel it and say it to this person. However you did as a kid, that's what you're doing now, under pressure.
Very much so, under pressure. And so when we're out. So we're out for, I think it was an hour or maybe 2 hours you had to go get lunch. And so my personality, I was like, okay, I'm going to go straight to the best restaurant. So I went down to the Woolloomooloo Finger Wharf along there, and so there was all the restaurants along there, Manta, China Doll. These are some of the most ritzy restaurants in Sydney, and I've rocked up and I've gone. So I'm just looking to get a table, need some lunch. Okay, cool. Yeah, and they're about to send you that. Oh, the only thing is I can't pay. I'm unable to pay, and and then they look at you and you're like, you're back. There's a bit of back and forth, and it's like,
all you can say is that, can you feed me here? Like, is that okay? Well, a version of that. You couldn't say, I'm on this exercise and they're trying to get me to do this thing. And
that's right.
Otherwise they'll tell you to buzz off. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Some people do that. Some people were like, hey, look, by the way, I'm on this exercise, and I can come back and pay. I just have to get lunch now.
And you could do that. That was an option. You could say, look, I can come back and pay. I just don't have my stuff now.
But most people, when you gave that story, most people just tell you to get piss off.
Yeah.
And I think I tried maybe 5 places, and I got to this pub just down in Woolloomooloo. And I went to the guy at the bar, and it was the same thing. He felt under pressure. So he felt, and I just, by this stage, I was warmed up. I'd gotten my bag back after several attempts, and I'd had 5 goes of talking to
5 rejections.
5 rejections from these different restaurants. And so I was like, man, I'm hoping you can help me out. I need to get fed. He goes, and I can't pay.
This guy's going to knife me otherwise.
I just looked him straight between the eyes, and then that power stroke. Like I was standing in my confidence. I was strong. I was certain. It was coming from like a grounded part of me, and he was not grounded, strong, and he was like. Okay, yep, and okay, all right, well, let's go. And so I got a Parmigiana, and I also had a beer at the time.
Yeah.
So at the time I was drinking, so I had a beer as well, and I'm sitting here at the, I can't remember used to go there a bit, but it's a nice pub in just across from the Finger Wharf there, and. Yeah, I'm just sitting up there eating, just feeling that, and I was so proud as well because you leave that place, and I like to win. I hate losing, so the fact that I was able to get it done was really important to me. But yeah, I think just that, whenever in sales and business, there's always that meeting of 2 people, and so whoever's more strong and certain and confident will influence the other person.
Yeah.
You know, always. And often it's the prospect who's influencing the salesperson.
Yeah.
You know, and you're hearing their stories, you're buying their bullshit. But you know, and that's people don't want that really. They want to be led. They want you to be strong. They want you to be a leader. They want you to, you know, have that certainty.
People feel it rather than hearing it. And people hear when it's bullshit, and people hear when they feel like they're being sold to, or people feel if you truly want to help them and you're being authentic and honest. And that exercise, there's so many parts to it. For some people, it's mortally wounding. It's the worst thing they've ever had to do. But take away...
There were people in tears.
Yeah,
there
people
take
away
guys
people's
that were in
stuff,
tears.
all their security and blankets, and like people go, oh, but look how I'm dressed. Who gives a fuck? Like, but people start doing that. But I'm not dressed well. You know, I don't look presentable. So what is that? The limitation of your being. So you think that just because I'm not dressed a certain way, people are going to think differently about me. Maybe it's true, but you've got a chance to influence them by the way you project yourself and come across.
So powerful from what's within.
Yeah, yeah. So
how do you fill yourself up with that? I mean, that's a large question, and you know, probably can't be answered within this podcast. But how can you fill yourself up with confidence? What are the, I guess, the things that you've found over the years that you've coached?
Look, a simple one is, and it is a simple one, is keeping the promises to yourself. So if you say you're going to make those 4 calls, make those 4 calls. And at the end of the day, have a victory book or something that I do. And I go, well, because the only person we should really be telling ourselves about how proud we are is ourselves. People that you care about love you. They'll love you anyway. I go, well done, that's good, mate. But we're too quick to look at what we don't do wrong, what we do right, what we don't do right. So my big thing is to build a healthy self-esteem, build self-confidence. But on the flip side of that, if you're the type of person who says one thing, does another, internally it goes to a place where it says, I'm entrapped inside of a body of an idiot, because they say one thing and do the complete opposite. So that lowers self-esteem, and that, how can you be confident with low self-esteem? Have you ever met anyone who goes, man, that person's got low self-esteem? They're super confident though. So to build confidence is build a healthy self-esteem. And that's one way you can do it. Just keep those little promises on a regular basis and build and build and build and build. People with lower self-esteem tend to set really outrageous goals because it gives them a brief moment of excitement. I want to go play for the Chicago Bulls. But you're not even playing for a local comp. Maybe you should start there. No, they're shit. Because they want to feel better about the way they are now. So they set this high expectation, this high goal. So that would be my answer. One of many, but that's an important one, is build your self-esteem by keeping promises to yourself. And then you'll notice your confidence grows, because how can it not?
Yeah, I think the lowest my confidence has ever been is after, you know, I've made a commitment, and, you know, I think the biggest example is the drinking. When I used to sort of, I would swear off the alcohol. I'd have a big night, do some silly stuff, you know, which weren't, you know, by the way, we weren't breaking the law but, you know, do some things that weren't really in line with my goals and where I wanted to go.
Yeah.
And, you know, that immediate sort of whiplash that you get on the Monday morning, you're feeling terrible.
Yeah.
And so you're off it, you're off the booze, new life choices. And, you know, soon enough, if it happened again, like that's where really I think it took me, you know, that takes a long time to recover from. And when I'm on a sales call or I'm in business, I'm not speaking from my ground. I'm not feeling grounded when I'm talking to people.
Yeah.
And I think that's a powerful little, like, in terms of tips, actionable, easy to implement, can start right now.
Yeah.
You know, follow through.
Yeah. In my, I guess, counselling work and all that, if people were depressed, depending on what level they were at, I see many people get off medications by doing that victory book scenario. So keep your promise to yourself. Signed off at the end of the day. I'm so proud of myself. I did that, followed through. Doesn't matter how big it may seem for you or how small. It's important that you just follow through And it's that simple thing. That's why people go, I used to feel great when I used to go to the gym, then I stopped. Well, there's an answer in that, the clue's in that. But they keep saying, I used to be so fit, I used to be so healthy, I used to feel so much better. And then I stopped. Okay.
So you guys are now building a remote sales team. You've moved a little bit further away from live events. You're moving more into the online space, remote sort of space. We've been lucky enough to help you build part of your sales team.
Absolutely.
And do some training. So what next? What are the plans for the next?
Well, I guess if we move from the live events, because for us, the other part to running live events and having a business, so primarily back then, 80% of our business came from running live events. So we're like, okay, cool. Although it's working and it was enjoyable and fulfilling a need, we're like, we don't want to have a business that relies on us flying around the countryside running live events, right? So we started to get savvy, right? So we started to improve our marketing and have more inbound leads, and of course Facebook ads kicked off and all this sort of stuff that was sort of we didn't have access to before. What it meant for us was then we could start to reduce the number of live seminars and have more people come to us directly, obviously build a bigger following and so forth. And then, of course, COVID hit, what a great time to be alive. And if you were relying upon live events right then, it wouldn't have been great for us at all. So really, I guess I look at that whole journey and we were really gearing ourselves up to take this business to that next level. And, to be able to service people because, a huge portion of our business, 70% of it comes from Australia, 20% from New Zealand, some international clients. So I guess what it enabled us to do was to go really expand that footprint and, again, not be reliant upon locality and location.
And I mean, if I can speak on the part that the reason we looked to get your help with the recruiting was that we'd had done ourselves in the past, and we just found, being busy business owners doing everything else, it was just a lot of time consuming, interviews, sifting through all that stuff. So
Trials,
and so the last two people that you've provided it's been a blessing, and to have someone already, I guess, predetermined that they're a good fit made the world a difference. So I just want to acknowledge that's just been a godsend for us because, again, we'd spent a lot of time, wasted time trying to do all that stuff ourselves. And I think we got to the part where we got actually recommended, to go, hey, you guys probably need to look at maybe outsourcing that and getting somebody else to do the hiring of that part, and best thing we ever did.
Yeah. And the other part is, we teach recruitment, right? So part of our strategy in teaching gym owners and fitness professionals is going, when you want to start to build a team, here's a step-by-step process on how to do it from start to finish. So we knew it, we'd implemented it with recruiting our own salespeople, but just like you were saying, what does it take? It takes time, effort, energy, takes us out of the core running of the business. And so, it's that part has been phenomenal. And I guess it really showed us, hey, what's possible? Where can we take this to that next level?
Yeah.
Amazing. It's really different recruiting for yourself. I've recruited for over 5 years, moving towards 10, but I've recruited for a long time. I've recruited thousands and thousands of people.
Right.
And I am not good at recruiting for my own business. You're too close. And so a lot of you if you've got any fears or biases, they come up. And you just need that person who's a little bit detached, who can kind of get the perspective and see things that you can't see. It's like most things, like most builders' houses are never finished, but recruiting for yourself is difficult.
Yeah. I'm very happy to hand it to somebody else, to be honest.
And
they've done this part, they've got them to a point where, they're going to be a good fit. I go, oh, great. That's perfect.
It's cool. And like we were in our sales meeting just this week, and Drago, one of the first recruits, he's moved to a part-time basis, as we all know, for personal circumstances. But he was saying, hey, just want to acknowledge I've never seen a place or a system where you guys really do care for people in the process, step by step. And we have quite a step-by-step process. So we're not just a wham bam thank you man one hit wonder on our sales strategy, So and it was really nice, I guess, to sit in the sales meeting and hear him really step back and just go, fuck. The amount of ways that this company wants to actually help people genuinely, and watching you guys go step by step through the process has been cool.
So much that he become a client. himself. That's our second sales guy that we've had that joined the program. Not asked. If they asked us, we probably would have just helped them out.
Yeah.
If you listen to this, it's not really true. But what that showed us is that, you know, these guys go like, hey, I'm seeing all these success stories. I know what you guys provide, and you do care, and they've actually joined the program while working for us.
I want fucking a bit of this. I mean, Ryan, the first guy, he was going, I'm watching these people that I spoke to. I put these people into the program, watching them in 3 to 6 months hit all these goals. I fucking want that too.
Yeah.
You know? So while he was working full time for us, he started his online PTs, online coaching business on the side. He was making $500-600 a week and that. And then he come to us and he goes, guys, I got good news and I got bad news. He goes, I'm quitting, but the good news is I'm going to remain a client forever, and I'm going off to build my PT business. And within his first 3 months, he's doing over $2,000 a week, and you know, it's it was really cool.
That's phenomenal.
And I think you asked us originally, where are we going with the company? Well, we're just expanding. Like, people ask us, we just aim to do what we're doing better every year. Like this year, we're on track again to do our best year ever. You know, both growth and profit, but it's more than just that. We're building a big following in New Zealand, so New Zealand's our next thing. Already we've got like 30 odd clients in there, so we've got a launch going into New Zealand, so we really want to own that space as well. In the back end, we've finally got a platform that for 10 years, we've been looking at finding something that we could help our clients with to manage lead generation, you know, sales funnels, have it all in one shop. So we're not saying go and get MailChimp, go and get Calendly. So we've actually got that part now, and so that's kicked off and launched, and that's exciting because it's also something that we don't need to be really involved in. We've got a team set up that helps manage that, but it also provides what our clients need in the back end of growing and scaling their business. So we're not getting any younger, but we love what we do. So we also got some really good, I call them young, they're in their 30s, really good key people coming in, so that for us, we would like Trainer to just continue on well and truly once we've wrapped up.
Just like the Wiggles.
Like the Wiggles,
You know
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Just
Who
get
would
someone
you
else to
be?
wear the yellow suit,
Yeah.
the
You
red
be
suit.
Jeff. Is that one's always sleeping?
I reckon
Wake up, Jeff.
we could be as cheesy too occasionally on the video, couldn't we? No, but it is true. Like, we both turned 50 this year, and so like it's cool because we're like, our birthdays are 2 weeks apart. You know, like the day we first met, which Shani, you might not know, we first met when we were 15 years old, on stage at a bodybuilding competition.
Contest, yeah.
Yeah, we were still at high school.
We were up the same area.
Wow.
Fit and all oiled up, you know. I think I was about 67 kilos, wringing wet, you know, at this height. And
I had to sock down the pants. but
There we
then
were.
I found out later I should have been down the front, not the back. They just said put it sock down.
so that was the first day we met each other at the 1990 Mr. Logan City Bodybuilding Championships, and so we didn't know each other from a bar of soap. Turns out we live one suburb away.
Yeah.
Turns out we sort of connected, and over our teenage years we sort of knew each other, and
Different high schools we went to,
Yeah,
but knew each other, mutual friends.
back then there was no Snapchat, of course. You know, we couldn't connect. And
We'd be at
Get
parties.
a knock on each other's
Parties.
door, call the landline.
that's right.
Interesting how it works out, and then we just got in the industry as well and crossed paths and
Yeah.
Amazing, guys. I mean,
But-
that's a podcast episode. In
went
itself,
out and partied together and all that
keeping
stuff. So
relationship.
Yeah, there is so much to unpack from there. Yeah,
It's also a tick in the box for business partnerships, you know, because there must be a small percentage of business partnerships that actually succeed, like marriages. You know, not every day you get to meet someone who you're going to spend the rest of your life with, and the same is within business. And I think a lot of people go into business partnerships thinking they need the other person, and it rarely works out.
that's
So,
right. And also the common fallacies you hear: don't get into business with friends or
Yeah.
family or all this sort of stuff. So we can show you examples of where that's completely the opposite, right? So we go, okay, what if we had a friendship, right? So what if we decided not to do it 18 odd years ago, you know? Oh, nah, he's a mate. I better not do it, you know? It's like, but yeah, at the turning 50 this year, it's great because we're now planning out what does the next, 10, 15, 20 years look like, and how do we, start to find ways to divest and have people become part of this company because, again, I mean, we say it all the time, 17 years down the track, we still feel like we're scratching the surface, in this country and also internationally. So we see huge amounts of opportunity for those that want to become part of it, want to come along for the ride.
Perfect. We'll look forward to building the sales team and helping you grow and scale as you take over
The
the
world.
rest of the world.
Yeah.
Love it.
The sales process is also an interesting one because I guess one thing, talking about what we see is out there in the market is we hear a lot of shit, So what I mean by that is we hear people who have, they might have, when we first started in the fitness business coaching space, there wasn't much in the way of, other people coaching fitness business owners. I guess we pioneered it in this country. Since we started, of course, and in the 17 years, there's been a lot of them pop up because there's no qualification, there's no minimum standard. What does it take to become a fitness business coach? Well, you just start
Change
your
your
Instagram
Instagram bio.
file and call
I'm a
yourself
coach.
one. Just like OnlyFans creators and now online coaches apparently as well. So, but over those years, we've seen it happen. We've seen some people come to our workshop, probably look around, count the heads, and go, "Holy shit, I can do this myself." What we've seen is a lot of shit out there, and here's some of the stuff we hear. We hear high-pressured, old-school sales tactics. We hear people getting sold to over DMs. Just the DM sell. For the 5K.
Can't get them on a call. They don't want to meet face to face. Or
Here's my PDF. Read it.
Yeah.
Give me your credit card.
Here's the one-hit wonders, the one and done. So it's just like, all right, I'm in there and I'm going to go hard on this person, and then the person says, "Well, hey, I'm interested in your $5,000 upfront course. All right, let's put it on a credit card." The person says, "Well, I want to consider some options, not right now." And the person says, "Hold on, you mustn't be serious about these goals that we spoke of just before." And
They drill you on the identity, drill you on your on your decision making,
character
make you feel
assassination.
bad. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So
mindset.
it's unfortunate because I guess we hear it and we go, there's plenty of it out there. And like back to the emotional intelligence part, we hear of people, people getting the shits, these are the people that are trying to sell, their program because someone hasn't bought it, and rousing on them and all the rest of it, So it's fascinating.
It's when I got into closing, I was in this sort of, I went through some training programs, which were the closing style, high ticket closing on the phone. I'd always sold in person, so I was used to selling belly to belly. You build good rapport. People can feel your confidence in it. And they bought what you were selling basically. And there's going to a phone sale, it became a different kettle of fish. So I went through some trainings on how to elevate that. But there was a lot of these courses which were the objection handling was heavily sort of questioning that person's identity and questioning the way they think and the way they make decisions and questioning whether or not that means it's sort of mental weakness. There's a bit of weakness there, and maybe that's the reason you're stuck. Have you considered that? And it really never worked for me. I used to implement that, to be honest. So it was a mini coaching session at the end of the call where not only are you you're shifting from an expert product knowledge, an expert in whatever you're selling to being a bit of a mindset coach and sort of unpacking that person's, unpacking their limiting beliefs and unpacking that and
all within
making a
35
diagnosis. Less. Making a diagnosis around why they're stuck in their life. And, it's funny, I think just, all the training that you and I have done together and, we've all done on mindset and self-development, you just know it's really hard to turn that sales call into a coaching call and actually get that person to sort of go, "Oh, hang on, maybe I should sort of take action because, you, the sales guy, has just told me that I'm, maybe my thinking is a little bit skew-if and I'm a weak person." Actually, maybe I will buy now. So I think authenticity is probably really key. And but I do think there's merit in sort of helping someone shift their thinking. That's really what the sales process for me is about, shifting that person's thinking before, but not insulting them at the end of the call and doing it without tact and doing it without skill, because I think a lot of the closers, they don't have the skill to coach someone on their mindset. And so, but it's been written in the objection handling sort of playbook. Here's some dialogue to use. It works.
Yeah, say this. Yeah.
Very rare that it works.
Yeah. It's nuts.
So I think we're coming up to time, guys. I mean, it's been a journey down memory lane.
Yes.
And sort of finding out a lot of stuff, even though we've got been acquainted for a long time now, and good friends and work together. There's some stuff I learned today. It's been an awesome chat.
Yeah, it's been phenomenal. We look at the journey like not only do we start as client, right through, develop the friendship, watching your journey in terms of what you built. And now, how cool is it when it swings right around the other way? We're a client of yours now.
Yeah, using your service. And
Yeah.
we've had that happen a few times.
Yeah, we look back and we go, hey, that's good. You go, the whole thing of leaving a legacy, it goes, how do you ultimately see this whole thing playing out? Is you got these great relationships with people that you really value, but you also see their success and where that heads, right? You started as the fitness guy and now look where it's gone, right? As a result of, by the sounds of it, coming to that one event, which helped you sort of go on that pathway of business to growth, which is really cool.
Absolutely, and personal growth as well.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
part
Is it
we
really-
love the most, hey, just watching where people go and where they head. And, Brett Campbell's another one, just
Crushing
gone
it.
on to big things. And, we've used his service at some point.
Yeah.
It's great where they just, debunk. Some people like to be the guru and keep their students or clients there.
Keep them
where I always
below.
want to go, I hope you go way better than me so I can then, lean on you and use your experience and knowledge. Because if you're surrounded by all these people that lift up, it just empowers everybody. There's so much more opportunity.
And we hear it all the time. So we have our clients, 200 plus clients on the higher level coaching program. We run our millionaire mindset retreats on the Gold Coast. We run our Ignite event in Bali. We run our Inspire end of year event. And always, as we chat to the clients, when they speak, what we hear is, it's the business success, it's the dollars in the bank, the money, the gyms they bought, all that stuff. That's all great, but it's the person they became in the process and the personal development changes, which for them, they just. It takes the cake in terms of how they speak about it and how their life has changed as a result of it, So, and that part is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Great work.
Amazing, guys. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.